The radio is a low-cost medium specifically suited to reach remote communities and vulnerable people, the disabled, women, youth and the poor, while offering a platform to intervene in the public domain irrespective of people's educational level.
Who is the actual inventor of the radio? Tonight on our special segment on World Radio Day, News First Ramesh Irugal Bandara finds the answer to this.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Nadim Majid.
And I'm Krishi Panitharatna. We start off the news, the look at your headlines first.
Making headlines this evening, 2 Jaffna University undergraduates who were being rehabilitated released to their parents on the President's instruction. Investigation still underway in search of the suspects involved in the theft of 10 million rupees in Slave Island. The body of a police officer who chased after a wanted suspect discovered in an agrarian well. And on Sports First tonight, Charit Senanayake, who resigned as manager of the Sri Lanka cricket team, says he was being pressurized by a high-ranking individual at SLC.
The 2 Jaffna University students who were arrested and rehabilitated were released to their parents today on the instructions of President Mahinda Rajapaksa. Commissioner General of Rehabilitation Brigadier Darshan Hettiarachchi said that the 2 students were being detained at the Kandakadu Rehabilitation Centre in Vavuniya.
The 2 students were handed over to their parents this morning. Commissioner General of Rehabilitation Brigadier Darshan Hettiarachchi was also present at the occasion.
My mother met the Honorable President. We wanted to be released. We are happy now. We will do our studies very well. We wish to thank the Honorable President.
After it was established that the 4 university students were connected to illegal and anti-state activity within the university and were connected to LTTE activities, steps were taken to resort to legal action. However, because they were university students, they agreed for rehabilitation, which would not affect their student status. Instead of resorting to legal action, which would put them behind bars, they agreed for rehabilitation. During the rehabilitation period, we provided a lot of counseling for these 2 students. The parents of the students in question requested President Mahinda Rajapaksa to release the 2 undergraduates during the Jaffna District Development Committee meeting held under the auspices of President Mahinda Rajapaksa yesterday.
Meanwhile, addressing a media briefing today, the leader of the Democratic People's Front, Manu Ganeshan, urged the authorities to release Tamil political prisoners as well.
When the President went to Jaffna for district committee meeting, he ordered the IGP to release the university students who were being held. We saw this in the television. We commend this move. This is what we have been pressing the authorities to do. We would like to urge the President to release the Tamil political prisoners who are enduring hardships in Sri Lankan prisons.
The central functions building complex of the Jaffna Hospital, constructed at a cost of 205 million rupees, was declared open by President Mahinda Rajapaksa today.
Prior to declaring open the building, the President visited the Kovil, located on the hospital premises, and engaged in religious observances. The building complex declared open by the President today comprises of 8 operating theatres, 2 intensive care units comprising of 20 beds, a central supply and sterilization unit, and other new equipment. The object that is dear to all of us is the child. There was an era here when at night the children were hidden away. The resources here must be used for the benefit of the entire country and not just for the people of the province. I think that this hospital has become the only place that people who come here can go to in an emergency. We will work in the future to protect this hospital and protect freedom. We looked into development in this province and the shortcomings in this province. We will resolve the shortcomings that we can address. As Minister Maithripala Sirisena said, they point out the shortcomings and not the work we have done. That is human nature.
On to one of our headline-making stories. The police say that investigations based on forensic evidence have commenced into the theft of 10 million rupees from a businessman in the Slave Island area yesterday. A senior police officer in charge of the Colombo area said 3 teams from the Colombo Crimes Division and another police team have been deployed for this purpose. According to the police, the businessman who was robbed had left a private bank last evening carrying the sum of money in his vehicle. An unidentified group disguised as police officers had abducted the businessman and his driver in a Defender. The police say that they have received information that 5 persons were involved in the robbery. The police added that the thieves had abandoned the businessman and his driver in Kotte and made off with the money. The Colombo Crimes Division had discovered the businessman's vehicle abandoned in Dematogoda. Investigations are underway to recover fingerprints and other forensic evidence from the crime scene. Parallel to this, inquiries are being made into CCTV camera footage from the area. The Colombo Crimes Division have commenced extensive investigations to apprehend the suspects.
The body of a police officer who went missing during an operation to apprehend a wanted suspect in Puapiti Habarana has been found inside an agrarian well in the area. The police had arrived in Puapiti at dawn today to arrest the suspect who had a warrant against him, but the suspect had fled the area.
While the police officer who gave chase was reported missing as of this morning, the suspect was not apprehended, prompting the police to commence a search operation for the two. The police officer's body was discovered inside an agrarian well this morning. The victim had been identified as 45-year-old Veerasingha Ratchige Sumudu Chintaka, a constable residing in Konwewa, Galen Bindunuwewa. Meanwhile, the police opened fire on a group of persons said to have assaulted police officers in Ralapanawa, Nochiagama. The police say that the officers who arrived at a house in Ralapanawa last night to arrest a suspect had been assaulted. The police had received information regarding an incident where a woman residing in Ralapanawa had been assaulted by her brother and another individual who had then attempted to damage her property. Accordingly, a night patrol was deployed to the location. The police say that the suspects had assaulted the officers with a mamati and had attempted to grab a firearm. While one of the suspects was injured in the shooting, an injured police officer was admitted to the Nochiagama hospital.
When I was looking back from inside the jeep, a man carrying a mamati ran out and attacked me. When I attempted to block him, my arm was injured. When I attempted to run, I was hit from behind. I was hit by the blade of the mamati. I fell down. I warned him that if he came any closer, I would shoot. But he still came forward even after I opened fire. I could not resort to any other action. As I was alone, I fell into the waterway, crossed to the opposite bank, and injured my hand in the process. Nevertheless, I saw him coming closer carrying a mamati, and I shot him.
While the other suspect involved in the incident fled the area, the Nochiagama police have commenced investigations to apprehend him.
Now, according to a latest United Nations report, Sri Lanka has failed to honour promises to investigate human rights violations during the final stages of the conflict. The report by human rights experts, which was submitted to the United Nations Human Rights Council on Monday, found that investigations by local authorities were inconclusive and were not independent or impartial. Now, based on a report seen by AFP today, quote, the steps taken to investigate allegations of serious violations of human rights have been inconclusive and lack the independence and impartiality required to inspire confidence, unquote. Now, AFP reported that the document compiled by experts who visited Sri Lanka in September last year requested the government to establish a truth-seeking mechanism to address transitional justice in a country emerging from nearly 4 decades of ethnic strife. The report said that grave human rights violations, including the killing of 17 French aid workers in August 2006, had not been probed despite government promises to swiftly bring the perpetrators to justice. The experts had said that continuing reports of extrajudicial killings, abductions and enforced disappearances in the past year highlight the urgency of action to combat impunity.
Representatives of several political parties met the Elections Commissioner Mahinda Deshapriya today.
The meeting was held to discuss incidents where official ballot papers were discovered from a number of locations. 460 ballot papers were found in the Kalagedihene area recently, and 64 ballot papers were discovered in Ratnapura a couple of days after the election. The people were suspicious about this. We informed the Elections Commissioner about this. We engaged in extensive discussions together with members representing General Fonseca and the JVP. This is an election year and we want to see free and fair elections.
මේ මැතිවරණ අවුරුද්දේ නිදහස් සහ සාධාරණ මැතිවරණයක් දැකීම අපේ අවශ්‍යතාවයයි.
මැතිවරණ කොමසාරිස්වරයා කරපු පැහැදිලි කිරීම එක්ක අපි
We agreed with the explanations of the Elections Commissioner. All these ballot papers were ones which were rejected, so it won't have any bearing on the result of the election. The Commissioner informed us that steps will be taken to hand over and transport ballot papers under the supervision of party representatives.
වාරදීමටත් ප්‍රවාහනය කිරීමටත් කටයුතු කිරීමේ එවැනි සිද්ධීන් වළක්වා ගැනීමට පියවර ගන්නා බව කොමසාරිස්තුමා දෙන්නා.
විතරම ගත්තොත් මැතිවරණ තියෙන ආකාරය රාජ්‍ය බලය යොදන ආකාරය
If the people are to have confidence about the manner in which a government conducts an election and the manner in which it uses its authority, then the government needs to take more responsible steps. The Elections Commissioner and his officials also have a huge role to play in this process.
මැතිවරණ කාර්යාලයට ඒ පිළිබඳව කොමසාරිස්තුමා ඇතුළු නිලධාරී මණ්ඩලයට දැවැන්ත වගකීමක් තියෙනවා.
In other local news, the Commissioner General of Archaeology, Senarat Dissanayake, says that excavations have commenced to determine the historic value of the Dutch fort located in the Ruanwalla town. Now, the expansion of the Karawanalla Galigamur road, parallel to the Ruanwalla urban development program, was ceased temporarily last morning. The cessation was the result of the problems surrounding damage that would be caused to the historic Dutch fort located in the town. The Ministry of Highways commenced development on this road parallel to a program to develop small towns. According to the plan, the 1,150-metre stretch of road within the Ruanwalla town is to be developed in a manner where all constructions within 30 feet of the centre lane of the road are to be demolished. As a result, part of the ramparts of the Dutch fort located in the town centre were to be removed. A discussion was held today with the participation of all factions involved in this issue from the Department of Archaeology and the Urban Development Program. We propose that the road be extended on the other side because if there is any danger to the fort, it must be prevented. Therefore, we decided that following the excavations, we will make nominal room from the walls of the fort for the construction of the road. An archaeological excavation must be undertaken to identify any artifacts here. The artifact could be the bricks of the wall. Anyone here would agree that there is nothing wrong with moving it 3 feet away in a manner in which it will not be harmed. Thereby, I also believe that no harm will come to this artifact. We arrived at a very clear decision to conduct development and protect archaeological value. Meanwhile, the Department of Archaeology says that no archaeological value has been determined as yet to an underground tunnel that was discovered in the Rakkittakanda area in Karadagolla, Alla during work on the Umoya development scheme. Commissioner General of Archaeology, Senarat Dissanayake, says that it is a natural cave, adding that excavations have not revealed that it was a human settlement. Dissanayake added that 3 archaeological digs were undertaken in the area where the tunnel was discovered.